Welcome, parent group. We're going to dive right in to the first section of Arielle Schwartz's book, The Post-Traumatic Growth Guidebook. In the book, there are 60 topics to help you work toward healing your trauma wounds. And the focus point for consideration in topic 1 is mindfulness. For your time and whole group, remember to set an intention for your time. Ask yourself, what is it that I want from this time? And then make the answer to that question your intention. For your small group breakout session, discuss the prompt with one another. You'll find that on page 5. And make note if there's any special nugget a fellow griever shares that may be helpful for your own journey. Remember that this is not an advice-giving time, but rather a time to share and grow in understanding and self-acceptance. Finally, for your alone time, also known as homework, and until you meet again as a group, work on recalling what your intention was. But more importantly, I want you practicing that skill of mindfulness that's discussed specifically in that first chapter, that first section. You might be asking yourself, how do I practice this mindfulness skill? And it's pretty simple. The first step is you start where you are. Starting where you are means that you're not holding yourself in judgment. You're not in a rush. You're remembering to breathe. You're remembering that recovering from the traumatic grief experience takes a significant amount of time. The next step would be practice recognizing the small changes in your body, such as heart rate, breathing, even perspiration. Something I noticed in my own journey was a tendency to swallow a lot. I would almost be trying to swallow down my grief, and it manifested in just a considerable amount of stopping, talking, swallowing, maybe forgetting what I was getting ready to say, getting back on track, because as you know from our previous classes, the brain isn't as cooperative as it once was prior to the trauma. And so these little things like heart rate, breathing, perspiration, how much we're swallowing, where we're holding our grief, sometimes we're holding it in our chest, our shoulders, our legs, our feet. Becoming aware of those little subtle changes can be a great step toward working towards the mindfulness journey. The next thing I want you to consider is becoming curious about how you respond to different situations, such as other people you may come in contact with. And this doesn't necessarily include the people in your immediate family. This could mean the clerk at the grocery store. It could mean that kind of frustrating individual at work. It could mean a sibling. It could mean, the person driving next to you in the next lane. Be curious how you respond to hitting every red light when you're in a rush. How are you experiencing moments that you've intentionally set aside for relaxation? So what is happening in your body, and how are you responding to different situations? In short, just be curious about learning about you, and more importantly than anything else, do so without judgment. There's no rush, there's no hurry, there's no reason that you should be fussing at yourself with your internal voice with judgment and forcing yourself to rush through this process. You probably know by now there is no rushing through this process, and there is no avoiding this process. Traumatic grief is a very real experience that you are all very aware of right now. It affects your mind, the way you think about things. It affects your ability to think about things. It also impacts your hormones and the way in which you experience stressors that prior to the trauma may not have impacted you in the same way. All right, that's all for now. As always, it's a pleasure and honor to be here with you. I want you to take good care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.